In this episode, we're going to talk about what happened in professional football history in the year 1923. We're covering as much football as we can on a year-to-year basis on a Football History Rewind series. We're at part 53, and it's coming up in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with PigskinDispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com, your portal to positive football history. Welcome to the Pig Pen. We have a great show today. We're going to be talking about the pro football of 1923 in our Football History Rewind part number 53. In 1923, another one of those great years. It was the fourth year of the fledgling National Football League. And they had one full calendar year with the new name after running as the American Professional Football Association, APFA, for the 1920-1921 season. So after that full year, this 1923 season had some differences than the other years. Each franchise was fully considered to be part of the league that helped in its growth. Now, prior to that, you had members of the NFL or APFA that were, we're franchise in the APFA, and you had some sort of auxiliary members, I guess, where they really didn't fully count their record in the NFL to be part of the championship. So now everybody was in there. They had 20 teams in the NFL that season, and all 20 had an equal shot before the season started to win that NFL championship if they provided the best team that had the best record. And out of those 20 teams, they had some new franchises join the league. The Duluth Kellys, that's what they played with in 1923. They would go on to be the Duluth Eskimos after that. There was a new version of the Cleveland Indians and a St. Louis All-Stars team that competed in the NFL as well. St. Louis only lasted for 1 year. Now, unfortunately, they also lost a franchise. The Evansville Crimson Giants folded their membership from the group, and the Columbus Panhandles, they were there from the beginning, but they changed their name and participated as the Columbus Tigers in the 1923 season. Well, the champions of the league, once again, was the Canton Bulldogs. They were crowned as the league champions after another undefeated season, the second in a row as had by the franchise, and this time they were 11-0-1. And the Bulldogs' tie was a November 11th game against Buffalo, against the All-Americans. It was a 3-3 final tally. And Canton would finish 2 games ahead of the 9-2-1 Chicago Bears. Now, the Bears lost their season opener to Rock Island, kind of a surprise 6-0, and then later to Canton, as well as 2 ties with the Milwaukee's Badgers to be that 9-2-1 record there. Now, since there were no playoffs in the old era of pro football, the Bulldogs were named the outright NFL champions by mere record, and who could be better than undefeated 11-0-1, and they beat everybody that was competing against them. Now, the Bulldogs would set an NFL record for the longest unbeaten streak with that 11-0-1 record, as they went 25 games without a loss. Now, going all the way back to 1921, that record during the stretch was 22 0 losses and 3 ties. 22 wins, 0 losses, 3 ties. And the teams from the best record to the least were as follows. Canton Bulldogs, well, they were at 11-0-1 like we talked about. Chicago Bears 9-2-1. Green Bay Packers 7-2-1. Milwaukee Badgers were 7-2-3. Cleveland Indians, that new franchise, 3-1-3. The Chicago Cardinals were 8-4. Duluth Kellys were 4-3, respectable for their first year. The Buffalo All-Americans had a real tough team to play against, 5-4-3. Columbus Tigers 5-4-1. Toledo Maroons 3-3-2. Racine Legion 4-4-2. The Rock Island Independents were 2-3-3. Minneapolis Marines were 2-5-2. St. Louis All-Stars 1-4-2. Hammond Pros 1-5-1. Dayton Triangles, Akron Pros, and Orang Indians were all one-win teams, and the Louisville Brecks and Rochester Jeffersons were the offers in the win column. Now, interesting enough, when we talk about the Oorang Indians, Jim Thorpe played his second and final season with that franchise. In a meeting of Oorang against the Chicago Bears, Thorpe, well, he wasn't quite what he was earlier. He was a little long in the tooth at this point. He fumbled the ball in the game, and another legend of the game, George Halas, scooped it up and rumbled 98 yards for a score. And believe it or not, this yardage of a fumble return of 98 yards by George Halas would stand as the official longest in the NFL until 1972. Now think about how long that was. You got almost 50 years, and think about what George Halas had done in that time. He was a player when it happened. He went into coaching, and of course, still as an owner, as a player, owner, and coach, and just had that great tenure and saw the NFL develop, and they merged with the AFL and got rid of the AAFC, or merged with them, whatever you want to call it. So quite a lot happened in that span of time for that 98-yard record to stand of George Halas. But an unbelievable 1923 season. Hats off to those Canton Bulldogs, with that tremendous longest winning streak in NFL history, which still stands 22-0-3 over those three plus years there of that great record and great run that Canton Bulldogs had. And that's part of the reason that, and having that initial meeting in there, that they say Canton's the birthplace of pro football. Well, that's where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is. I think folks in Western Pennsylvania will argue against that, because we know where pro football actually started at, was in the Pittsburgh area. And that's a podcast for a different day, and we hope to do that one soon. So hope you enjoyed this little bit of football history. Hope it reflected some of the greatness of the 1923 professional football season in the Canton Bulldogs and Chicago Bears and all the other teams that we got to celebrate in this. You can check out all that we have here that we just talked about on Pigskin Dispatch. You can also find more great sports history on sportshistorynetwork.com. And if you're in for a little bit of different flavors of different sports, you can go to jerseydispatch.com and the Sports Jersey Dispatch podcast, which we try to put one of those out quite often, almost every day here. So hope you enjoyed this, and talk to you tomorrow. And until then, have a great Gridiron Day. Peeking up at the clock, the time's running down. We're going to go into victory formation, take a knee, and let this baby run out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back tomorrow for the next podcast. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. A special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff, for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.